Let's run through your perspective on the kind of momentum we're seeing on the NSE, because at this stage it's looking pretty subdued.
Okay, what normally happens on the NSE is the last year's performance peaks at October and starts to be quiet through the month of November and December and picks up again in January. This has been the trend over the last 5 years or so. Foreign funds begin to slowly get out of the market towards the end of this month. Then local funds begin to follow suit in preparation for the close of the year. So I think the last momentum that we'll see in terms of an upsurge on prices on the NSE 20 and an upsurge on volumes, which will be very minimal, will be through the month of October. And once October is done, we'll probably start seeing the market being slightly more quiet than it was during the beginning of the year. So
that's the outlook moving forward. In the meantime, we've got these individual news items really stealing attention. As I was talking to Dinfin earlier this morning, we highlighted the fact that the row that Kenol Kobil has been having with Kenya Petroleum Refineries has finally seen some resolve. How have you been following that story, and what are you anticipating in terms of share price reaction to that news today?
I think the market had already priced in the positive reaction. It came down to about 8.9 a month ago when the business license was revoked. Then they started having a tussle with the KPRL. They got a stay from the High Court, and they were able to continue their business. So I think everybody had already priced it in. When it came down to about 8.9, then there was a lot of demand at that price level, and it came and sort of stabilized at 9.5. And the fact that now its business has actually been reinstated, that fact has already been priced in at the current share price. I think what will be the key driver for it going forward will be the year-on-year performance in terms of revenue growth and profit growth, and also its exposure to the African market as it goes regional. They had put in a tender to buy the BP assets in the southern part of Africa. The results of this are not yet known in the market, so if they should win that would probably be an uptick on the current share price. But for now, I think the dispute between KPRL has already been priced in at the current share price.
In the meantime, we've got players like TPS and KQ possibly seeing some new wind under its wings with earnings from the tourism sector running wild. That's the phrase that the Daily Nation ran with this morning. What are you anticipating there? Because if you're looking at a player like Kenya Airways, we know for a fact that while this is the context within which it's operating in-house, they've been having some problems themselves.
I think the news is more favorable for TPS Serena because you can actually see the direct affiliation with the increase in customers who are coming into Kenya and the increase in terms of capacity utilization by the hotels of the TPS Serena group. And I think their regional presence also works in their favor because they are either investors or tourists who are actually coming into Kenya, Rwanda, or Uganda, where they are mainly based. For Kenya Airways, it's one of those. I think for Kenya Airways, in as much as they're reporting increased numbers, it's not very easy for them to actually pass on increased cost in terms of their operational cost to the consumers, meaning that their margins remain stable. And the fact that the currency has stabilized at about 81 shillings, that's not working in their favor because they have to report their revenues in dollar terms, and then they have to convert this into Kenya shillings to be able to report their financials in the Kenyan atmosphere. For them, they're actually on a phase of expanding their fleet numbers. They're incurring additional costs. They have to keep on buying their fuel at higher prices on the market. So this is not a cost that they're able to easily pass on to the increased number of tourists who are coming on board. So you don't see the direct affiliation in terms of profitability for Kenya Airways. And then again, Kenya Airways is one of those volatile stocks that trades on technicals. It sort of comes up to about 60 shillings, then it slowly begins to drop down. And over the last 2 to 3 weeks, we've been seeing a continuous drop down on that. I don't think there'll be any upside based on these numbers. The upside will be more aligned to the TPS Serena counter.